demonic angel. Today I'm just going to talk about something that I kind of was thinking, oh, other people experience. I was actually talking to my partner about this again, and over the years I've mentioned this kind of phenomenon to a handful of people, and the responses will vary, but it's pretty interesting, just something to think about. So I recently I was just finishing up my final, so I don't think I've been on YouTube here for about 2 or 3 weeks because it was just this intense amount of homework, and I think it's about to be about a month break, so I was like, just sink it all into this and everything. That was a big part of it, and doing family things. But another part of it is that I think I've mentioned this before. I actually have hypothyroidism, and a lot of those things run in both sides of my family. It's a pretty treatable condition. You just take a little pill every morning with a glass of water, and you just have to wait 30 minutes to drink anything else like coffee, orange juice, or even eat. You just have to drink this water, and it gets your metabolism going, and that's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And I think I was probably 22, 23 when I found out about this, when I had gone in for routine blood work. Now, the reason I guess they didn't find out about it earlier was because at the time I was just going back to my small hometown doctor, and they didn't do, blood tests. They would just do physical exams and that kind of thing. And so they said, hey, this is something. They interviewed me and everything about my eating habits and such. And then, we go over my family history and, the problems that my other relatives, ancestors have had. They go, well, okay, it's, mostly probably a genetic thing. So, once a year, sometimes maybe twice a year, since then, I get blood work done, just to check the levels of that. Now, if you have other things can go into this, right? Like back when I was younger and I was an alcoholic, alcohol can slow your thyroid down. That can obviously combine with genetic factors, and it's not, you're not doing yourself any favors. I think that in general, we're all kind of smart enough to realize that the effects of bad choices like that we make in that way, they're going to have real consequences in this kind of way, in small sort of health ways. But just to say they're so small. So yeah, I just was, anyway, I was recently went in to do just my routine blood work. Now I've been sober from alcohol, and I don't have any addictions and anything. I haven't for many years. But each time I've gone in, in the interceding years between being an alcoholic and now, they just say, hey, no, this medicine's helping you, keep taking it, your thyroid levels are what they're supposed to be. So that's pretty easy for me to understand, and that's what I do. So recently I went in, and the whole phenomenon I'm kind of talking about here is, for me, now it's kind of a little bit different as I age here. I kind of will feel like when something is wrong with me. Now that can range from something like I'm talking about where my thyroid changed. The whole kind of end of that story quickly is that Uh, I just felt different, maybe a little bit depressed, but I kind of thought I'm just so sucked into the schoolwork and any of these things that we sort of dismiss it as whatever. And then I think by now I would have been wondering what was wrong with me though. But so there wasn't any kind of other physical signs. But when the blood work results came in, they said, called me and said something I did not expect. We have to lower your thyroid dose because your thyroid has actually started working again in some ways. So that makes it so, like right now, for the last month or whatever, I've been having hyperthyroidism. So the thyroid's too fast. And for right now, until I get in to see the doctor, I cut the thyroid pills in half, and then, because I'm going to see how, much they want to dose the dosage down, yeah. And they go, well, it's kind of unusual, but it does happen. It just kicked in, it started working again. And so, because thyroid medicine is really just replacement iodine and everything like that. So, of course, I didn't really know much about hyperthyroidism, because with hypo, you get tired, weight gain. A lot of my hair fell out. Really a lot of weight gain for me. I'm 5'2", and I got to about 180 or 190. So even when I've emotionally ate over my life or had more of a sedentary lifestyle, nothing has come close to having that health problem. And people would think, oh, hyperthyroidism is great because now your metabolism's really fast. It's not. It manifested kind of first as this weird depression, and I'm really not a naturally depressed person, so that's kind of was a little bit off for me. But I started sweating a lot, but at first, and then a couple weeks whatever later, I started sweating, but I couldn't really feel hot or cold. It was just the sweating. And I would sweat so much it would wake me up at night. I had a really hard time sleeping. I'd take things like valerian root, melatonin, some usual supplements that I'll take to relax, my body, my mind at night, those kinds of naturalistic types of approaches. And it just, really wasn't doing the trick, putting me to sleep. So, I also got this increased thirstiness, and my hair is still recovering. It got very brittle, and wise, it started to fall out in some ways, but it wasn't as noticeable, as before. I was just kind of attributing it to you're running the heater in the winter, and so you have, dry, brittle hair. But it's not a good thing to have, because then by this time, if they hadn't called me and let me know, I would have been freaked out, wondering what's going on, because I've had heart palpitations. And it's really not a good process for your body. It if you were to have this condition untreated, it can damage your heart, because you have these excess hormones, and the metabolism is not supposed to be functioning at this rate. So it's actually, and then you're having diarrhea. I've had severe nausea and little bits of vomiting. But I'm aware of what's happening, and getting this whole pretty minor health issue fixed. And the funny thing is that it's due to the fact that my body is healing. The things I've done gradually as I've gotten older, I do a much healthier food lifestyle. I'm no saint for sure, but I incorporate lots of tea apple cider vinegar and stuff, and no alcohol, no smoking cigarettes, none of those things that are daily, because you could do apple cider vinegar and green tea, but if you drink every night, you're really not going to see some of the benefits of that. So that's kind of the weird good news here and stuff. But yeah, it was definitely part of why I was just like, so caught up in finals. But like, I was tired from not being able to sleep pretty much as well. It was just, the mentally exhausting. And then I was talking to my partner, and I've mentioned this to some people over the years. When I get sick, I don't really notice, or maybe it hasn't happened yet, the symptoms of being ill first. I feel depressed. I feel anxious. I feel drained. Something is not right. Kind of, can be like a sense of almost doom. And but it's not that strong. It's not, for me, it's not like a paranoia. But like, it's there. And so many times in my life, the next day, 48 hours later, whatever, I end up getting the flu. One of the times when I was younger, I just felt so off. I had a huge argument with my mom. It was just, it was like mostly my fault, whatever it had been. And I just said some rash things. And I went to my room later, and I thought, God, I really didn't mean that, and why did I say that? And I just felt I felt so off. And then I got really, really sick. Like, you get you're sick in bed with the flu. And that has happened to me a lot of times. And this happened to me with my thyroid story that I've just related. Now, when I've talked to people over the years about this, sometimes people will say, gosh, I've really noticed that's something I can say that I experience too. Or even people, my partner is one of them. He said to me, when I first mentioned this to him, some years ago, he was like, no, I wouldn't say I feel that. I just will notice that I get a headache first, or that I get, physical symptoms, and then I'm just sick or whatever's wrong. But in the last couple of years, he's just been like, yeah, he's not too. It's not so much. Well, he has depression, I would say, more than me. But it's nothing that's really bad, and he takes medication to treat that kind of thing, and he takes it, religiously. So, but he'll be like, gosh, I really just don't feel. I just feel like I need to be, alone with my video games for a couple of days. I just need to sit here, right? And then he's like, I get really sick. And we talked about that, and but now I can say I really, can relate to that. And it's just a really strange thing. I think that there's a really easy answer, which is that, our immune systems and whatever has its intelligent, our stomach being second brain, and it's just aware of that something is wrong. It can range from small health problems, to regular sickness, to something like I'm going through, which is a kind of a moderate thing, but still needs to be addressed. Or let's say you have cancer. I think that it's just the body that and it affects the mind, like that first, before the headaches, before nausea, before the runny nose, the fever. I think that is just an easy thing to explain about why it would work that way. But I just I thought, gosh, I bet you a lot of other people out there can maybe relate to this experience. So that might have seemed a little bit boring and such, but so now I should be back, since I'm feeling much better, and I have about a month off from school, so I could probably be on here a little bit more regularly. The only thing I'm doing is regular holiday stuff. So I'll talk to you guys later.